Senator Tester is no stranger to Montana politics, but his opponent in this race is new to the political scene. Tim Sheehy is a Bozeman businessman who certainly has an impressive resume. The father of four, served as a Navy SEAL and also an aerial firefighter. MTN's Andrea Lutz has more on the Republican hoping to launch a new career as Montana's next senator.
And I'm running because I'm very concerned about the direction of this nation.
Tim Sheehy is a newcomer to Montana politics, but by now you've no doubt heard a lot about him.
When I understood that the control of the United States Senate came down to this seat, it was clear that my new path to serve this country was in the U.S. Senate.
Sheehy grew up in a Minneapolis suburb. He stayed close to home, graduating from St. Paul Academy, a private prep school, in 2004.
When I was 18, I was carrying a gun in defense of this country.
He enlisted in the Navy and moved away from home. Sheehy became a Navy SEAL and served in Iraq and Afghanistan, even earning a Purple Heart.
You learn a lot in military service. You learn the power and the greatness of this nation.
And it's the military where Sheehy met his wife, Carmen.
We came home to live the American dream in Montana.
In 2014, the two decided to make Montana home, raising their 4 children on their 20,000-acre cattle ranch in the Gallatin Valley.
I love my 4 children. I want to raise them in the greatest state in the greatest country. We've invested in growing our business here.
That business is Bridger Aerospace, an aerial firefighting company. Sheehy started the company in 2014, even piloting missions himself, battling devastating wildfires across the American West. Those firefights have perhaps helped prepare him for this political battle.
John Tester doesn't represent Montanans. He's a rubber stamp for Biden's failed presidency and extreme liberal agenda, and it's time to retire them both.
It's a race that many believe could determine which party has control over the U.S. Senate.
Hugely positive vibes. You can feel the momentum.
In fact, the stakes are so high, former President Donald Trump visited Montana this summer to campaign on Sheehy's behalf.
I gotta like Tim Sheehy a lot to be here, I have to tell you.
There are clear differences between Sheehy and his Democratic opponent. Perhaps none are more apparent than their stance on abortion rights.
And I'll not apologize for wanting to protect the life of an unborn child.
Sheehy says as a father of 4, he's pro-life. And he says he stands in strong support for IVF and is proud to have helped pay for a state-of-the-art NICU facility at Bozeman Health. He claims Democrats are pushing the most extreme abortion plan in the world.
My position on abortion has been common sense. I support the exceptions, rape, incest, life of the mother. But at some point when there's a viable life, another viable life included, that life also has the right to protection.
Another topic Sheehy feels strongly about, the southern border.
The fentanyl coming into this country is devastating our rural communities. It's devastating our cities and our tribal communities all across the nation, but especially here in Montana.
Sheehy is critical on the Biden administration and his opponent. He supports finishing the wall and putting an end to illegal immigration once and for all.
The flow of fentanyl across the border has something to do with legal immigration. Also has a lot to do with illegal immigration.
Sheehy says he wants to protect against a radical agenda that threatens the Second Amendment. And he believes spending in Washington, D.C. is out of control and believes our country's healthcare system is broken because of Obamacare.
It's time to actually solve these problems and stop talking about them.
Sheehy says it's time for a new generation of leadership.
The truth is, I'm concerned about where our country's heading, and I think it's time for a new generation of leaders to step up and try to start fixing some of these problems and stop talking about them. We have some very serious issues to deal with, and we need serious people to deal with them.
Again, we had hoped to sit down with Tim Sheehy for a one-on-one interview, but he declined our invitation. And it's not just MTN. Outside of appearances on political talk radio shows, Sheehy has done just a handful of interviews over the past 6 months. However, just this past Monday, we did finally manage to speak with Mr. Sheehy after a rally in Columbus. While we were only allowed to ask 4 questions, the topic we discussed was an important one: education. At several campaign events, Sheehy has suggested getting rid of the U.S. Department of Education, arguing the move could save the country $30 billion. It's a bold proposal that, to our knowledge, no reporters have been able to ask Sheehy to explain.
Well, I'll tell you what it means. We have federal agencies that are far outside their writ. And I don't think we need a federal Department of Education telling our parents how they need to educate their kids. I think all the money we spend on funding bureaucracies in D.C. would be far more efficient being spent at the state level or county level. There's block grant options. And I think that's a solution for many of our federal departments that have become symbols of dysfunction. Our federal government is largely dysfunctional. That's just a fact. Look at our southern border. Look at our debt and deficit. Look at our lack of military readiness. Look at the amount we're spending on education and what we're getting for it, which our test scores are going down nationally. So the Department of Education is not a good investment right now. So we don't necessarily have to throw that money away. What we should be doing is looking how to reinvest that money in a more effective place, and that's in local education.
Sheehy isn't alone in calling for the abolishment of the Department of Education. Several other Republican candidates nationally have expressed similar thoughts, including former President Donald Trump, who vowed to eliminate the agency if he returns to office, calling the department an abuse of taxpayer dollars to indoctrinate America's youth. We've told you about Tim Sheehy's military service and his career battling wildfires throughout the western United States. What we haven't discussed are some of the political battles he's already had to fight. With more on that, here's MTN's Casey Conlon.
Been in about 93 countries around the world, carried a gun in a lot of them.
U.S. Senate candidate Tim Sheehy is no stranger to combat.
We didn't do one deployment, we went back again and again and again and again and again.
But he's already faced a few political battles he hasn't managed to win. Let's start here. Sheehy claims he received a gunshot wound during a 2012 firefight in Afghanistan. After first telling a park ranger the injury happened during a 2015 trip to Glacier when he accidentally dropped his pistol and it discharged. Sheehy later admitted that was a lie, saying he did it to try and protect his platoon mates because the injury may have come from friendly fire, and he claims he was never treated for the injury.
I've been wounded in combat.
But just last week, the park ranger who cited Sheehy with discharging his gun in Glacier told the New York Times he's 100% sure Sheehy did shoot himself that day. And a former Navy SEAL who served with Sheehy also told the paper that the two met in 2012 shortly after the alleged combat injury happened, but says Sheehy's arms showed no evidence of a bullet wound. It's still unclear what really happened. And then there's this.
Well, they're drunk at 8 a.m. and you're roping together.
Leaked audio from several campaign events reveals Sheehy making comments perpetuating Native American stereotypes, something that's outraged tribal leaders across the state.
I think that it's perpetuating old racist stereotypes, that of the outdated idea that the drunken Indian.
Those leaders have called repeatedly for an apology. Sheehy has not issued one.
As he comes out and continues to not want to say I'm sorry for something so serious, it really bothers me personally.
You ought to apologize for the statements you made about them that were totally inaccurate.
Yeah, insensitive. I come from the military, as many of our tribal members do. You know, we make insensitive jokes and probably off color sometimes. And you know, I'm an adult. I'll take accountability for that.
There are also other controversies. It was recently uncovered that Sheehy's book, called Mudslingers, appeared to be partly plagiarized.
There were 4 passages that were, I would say, questionable, if not outright plagiarism.
Sheehy's reputation as a successful business owner has also been challenged.
We've invested in growing our business here.
Public filings show Bridger Aerospace, the aerial firefighting company he founded in 2014, lost $77 million last year and $20 million in the first 3 months of this year. In a note to stockholders, Bridger's auditor said the company has suffered recurring losses that, quote, raise substantial doubt about its ability to continue. Sheehy resigned from Bridger Aerospace this summer.
Again, we have repeatedly tried to speak with Tim Sheehy about all of these topics in addition to his vision for Montana. While opportunities to speak with him have been few and far between, he's not the only candidate embracing this as a campaign strategy. Scripps News correspondent Maritza Giorgio sat down with Lee Banville and Sally Mock to talk more about this somewhat new approach to politics. Banville is the University of Montana political analyst, while Mock is one of the state's most tenured journalists.
This is one of the most closely watched races in the country this election cycle. I don't have to tell you two that because there's a lot at stake. And this race, among a handful of others, has the potential to shift the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. So when we talk about these decisions about strategy and whether to do interviews, participate in debates, even communicate with the press at all, do you think that's a Sheehy decision, or do you think that's being decided at a higher level? Let's start with you, Sally.
Oh, I suspect, start that again. I suspect, Maritza, that it's at a higher level because I think it's happening nationally. I don't think the Sheehy tester race is an exception in terms of, blocking the legacy media, as we call it, out of their campaign. I think that's a national strategy. And I think it's a national strategy because it is effective in terms of what they want to accomplish, which is as little scrutiny as possible so they don't get, quote, in any kind of trouble for something they might say. And the problem, of course, is that there's no accountability and the public has no way to know for sure what they really think about something, what their background really entails, et cetera, except what they're fed by the campaigns. So I think it's an extremely dangerous and terrible trend in terms of the public's right to know and get the information they need in an election that is so important, one of the most important in the history of Montana politics, one could say.
And Lee, to Sally's point, the strategy seems to be working. If we look at the race for Senate, Sheehy has done almost no interviews with local news outlets, and he's ahead in the polls. So while journalists often defend their profession, do candidates need to take questions at all?
No. I mean, I think that, the age in which we were the gatekeeper of, access to the public, we were a necessary evil for politicians. They had to talk to us because they wanted us to convey their messages to the public. We are one of many voices that are contributing to coverage of these campaigns, plus the candidates can speak directly. And so we have become much more of like a liability, I think, to many politicians who have their own following. And so I think we've seen it, up and down the ballot in Montana, that it's much harder to get candidates to speak unless they're candidates who are struggling to gain attention or are behind in the polls. They're more than willing to talk. But the people who are comfortably ahead or feel like they're on the right trajectory and can do their messaging direct around us, see it as a totally logical strategy to follow.
So Sally, is the problem that they're not doing interviews, or is it that their base doesn't really seem to care?
I think their base doesn't seem to care, but I think that is something that should be discussed more in terms of what the base is losing, and not just the base, but the public in Montana, the voters in general, whether you support Sheehy or Tester or on the fence. None of you are getting the information that I think is crucial in terms of how you're going to elect someone who's going to represent you for the next 6 years in the U.S. Senate. And they may not care because they've been told that the media is the enemy, et cetera, and fake news and all of that. But what they're not thinking about is that all they're getting from the campaigns are slogans, not substance. And I think that's a very dangerous thing for however politics are going to be implemented and policy is going to be implemented in this country. And I think the press, I have to take some responsibility. We haven't made this point well enough. And I am happy that it's being discussed more now, but I think it's something that we've ignored too long, and we need to speak up about it and emphasize to the public what they're losing by agreeing to the, silently basically agreeing to this new normal of candidates and office holders not speaking to the press, period.
So Sally was my very first college journalism professor back when I was 18 years old. Lee, you spent 13 years at PBS NewsHour. You covered national politics for a long time, and now you are the director of the University of Montana School of Journalism. So what are you telling your students? What are they learning about how to navigate this when they're thrown out into the professional world?
Well, I mean, I think what Sally just said is really important, that the role of the media is oftentimes, from a political strategy point of view, it was how you reach your intended audience. But there's another role to the media, which is that we are the surrogates for the public who get to ask questions of these people in power or who want to be in power. And if it's thought of in that way, that it's really not about not talking to the press, it's really about not answering questions from the public. And yes, we are the ones who stand up first and say, hey, I'm here. I've gone to this meeting. I've interviewed your opponent. I've gone to all these rallies. And so I have some questions about what you're saying. But I'm doing that not for me. I'm doing that for the public who needs to know what your positions are or needs to know who you are as a leader before they cast their ballot. And so, that's still true. But I think we do have to do a better job of sort of making the argument that it's, talking to the press is not about the press. It's about the public having more information, having a better sense of who these people are, and being able to really, judge apples for apples by hearing them have to defend themselves, defend their policies of their party or the policies of their leadership, and also really, answer hard questions, because that's what they're going to do, in the case of the Senate for the next 6 years.
Okay, Sally Mock and Lee Banville, thank you so much for having this conversation and analysis with us. We appreciate it.